much the way Josh described what WAVE is doing at several universities around classrooms. The cloud computing model also brings to you mobility. Because these are web-delivered applications, they can be accessed from any device, including the shiny one up there on the screen that is called the Google Nexus One, the first true Google phone on the market. So this is something we're very focused on, delivering these sorts of applications with our university and educational partners. My last slide, I always like to end with this. There are some questions that cannot be answered by Google. We do not think that we have the silver bullet that will solve all the problems in education. We really very much want to engage with the community around how we solve these problems, how we address them. We run faculty conferences on our campus. We have student ambassadors. We have faculty who come and visit at Google to help us understand what's going on. So we really view this as a collaborative environment, not just a one-way street. And I encourage you all to engage with us. If nobody else, with me. You can reach me easily on Twitter at @jkeltner, and you can email me through my Google profile, which is bit.ly/JeffKeltner. So please feel free to reach out. I would love to hear your thoughts, suggestions, or otherwise, because I really view this as a collaborative effort to try and figure out what we can do to drive the future of education forward using technology. So, thank you.
Okay, we have 10 minutes for, can you all hear me? We have 10 minutes for questions, and like I said, please stand up, wave, jump up and down, and we will call on you. Anybody want to start?
It's about to jump up and down over here.
Anybody? Jumping? Jumping.
Yes.
Probably like your competitor as far as getting Google Apps into colleges is Blackboard. I think that's how do you think Google Apps compares to Blackboard and like
Sure.
the classroom? It obviously offers like unique things to teachers. It's definitely more impressive than Google Apps.
Yeah. No, it's a good question. I actually don't view Blackboard as a competitor at all. We actually have partnered with Blackboard. What we build are all what we like to think of at Google's horizontally useful applications, things that are useful in any industry for any user. So things like a document creation tool. Bringing educational context to that is something that we don't view that we have a real core value to. So we look to partners like Blackboard or Sakai or Moodle, and we're willing to work with all of them to bring that context. So the ability for a professor to say, here's a Google document that is my syllabus, or a student to say, here's a Google document which I'm going to use to turn into work for an assignment that was created in Blackboard. We view that as really a partnership in bringing more value both to what they have in terms of generic technology tools as well as to what we have in terms of bringing the educational context into the realm of fairly generic tools that we offer.
For those of you standing around the rim, there are a bunch of empty seats, mostly toward the front, so you don't have to stand on ceremony. Please come on down. We have Bigwig from the Department of Education coming up next. You don't want to be on the background for that.
And we promise we won't call on you, even if you sit in the front.
Right. Although don't take these 3 seats. We're supposed to be sitting there. Couple.
Hey, with respect to YouTube and iTunes and Facebook and all these different things that universities are kind of being forced a little bit to try out and be part of to stay ahead of things. How do you see the trend going? Do you think that this separation from others will continue? Do you think that one just going to win in the end, or people will win in the end, or what do you think is going to happen? I know our department's going to struggle with putting out the problems.
Do you mind if I ask just a clarifying question? So you're from a school, from a 4-year college? Yeah. Yeah. I think the good summary would probably be, if there is a bunch of different technology, which one will win out? Will one win out? And then, how do faculty members, when creating curriculum, how do they, keep up? I think that the part that I could most talk to is from the collaborative nature, which I think Jeff was hitting on as well, is that we have to remember that colleges are there not only to educate students, but they're their customers and partners in many ways. And we've seen such a great trend, especially in the undergraduate level over the last 5 years, in focusing on entrepreneurship from so many students. So many students have had experiences, certainly with technology, experiential learning on the high school level, and we've seen curriculum change on the college level. The smallest colleges in Dayton, Ohio are focusing on not only technology in the classroom, but how that complements a student's experience outside the classroom as well. That's where we focus from the Princeton Review side of the fence. The other side?
I can give you a little more direct answer, I guess, to your question, which is I think there will be clearly winners and losers. I don't think there'll be one winner. And I think you will start to see more interoperability between these applications and services. I think that's critical, and it's a new and emerging area of technology, the kind of cloud services. So you'll start to see more people interoperate. It's a tough question, and I would say don't look at me to predict who's going to win and lose. I have a vested interest in certain technologies being adopted more broadly than others. But B, I think we recognize even at Google that predicting the future of technology is very hard, and looking out more than 2 or 3 years is really, really sketchy at best. And so you kind of have to see how things shake out, try some stuff, and do your best. I think right now, if you look at YouTube, Facebook, these are 2 very clear areas where students are going, and probably good places to start.
Over there? And please shout, because we have microphones, but you don't.
Google Apps is a fantastic product. I know you guys are going to be rolling out Google Wave and having these domains. Of the schools that you can roll it out to, how well has it been adopted by the staff and faculty versus the students? I know the students will come on the language of use.
Well, it's a good question. We've seen a lot of schools who've only deployed to students, primarily for cost-saving reasons and lack of training reasons. I mean, students don't need training on Gmail and other tools. Where we've seen faculty engage, I think there's kind of an education curve that's required, but then the faculty really love it because, faculty are saying, I can engage with my students on a much more real-time level. I'm more involved in the work they're doing. And several have said, I moved from being someone who made an assignment and then judged the output at the end, to being a coach who is able to collaborate with that student throughout the process of creating the final work product. And that's a much more fulfilling role for most instructors to play, to be engaged in the process than to just feel like I gave you something that I tell you at the end how good you did. Did I really teach? And so I think that has been something that we've seen a lot of schools that have engaged in and said that's a really powerful model that professors flock to.
Still have a question?
You still have a question?
One of the schools I know, Four-Year University, has found plagiarism triple in the past year, as all of this information is now at students' fingertips. Who are you seeing doing a great job on technology literacy training for university students and creating programs so that kids understand there's politics to information and data and documentation?
What exactly do you mean by information literacy?
That what you find with fabulous Google isn't necessarily true just because it's your first research.
Thank you. Rob?
Specific schools examples. I wish I had a couple to hold up as the grail. I'm sorry, I don't have a school in mind.
Anyone in the audience?
Yeah, I'm going to embarrassingly say the same thing.
Yeah.
Anyone in the audience have an answer to that question? Casey?
Well, an excellent online material for getting students to take some digital literacy, privacy, and copyright. And part of the process is the request was to get their online privileges. It also provides a digital paper trail, so in fact, a student at Cornell is engaged in inappropriate behaviors. The student can't say, I didn't know, because there's a timestamp that says 2:45 a.m. You have to complete the tutorial to get your privileges to go on to the Cornell network.
It's a great answer.
We didn't even market that program going down.
Excellent.
Most of the comments today are focused on colleges the way they are today and making it better and more effective. I'm interested in what you think the implications you're describing are for new forms of learning, the effective institutions, and different ways of personalizing and giving students choices.
And can I just tweak that question, Peter? Because I think that touches on a very, very crucial point here, which is there's a battle for control going on between the way that colleges and universities have, for 100 years, delivered instruction, and I'm using those words deliberately, and what we've been hearing from Eric and from these guys up here about students demanding more. And students can demand more, and students can want to do whatever they want, but isn't there a problem with colleges as entities being the experts on the kind of education that students should learn, as being the knowledge experts?